All right, Joe Clair.
Yes, sir.
You don't understand what type of influence you had on me as a kid, man. I came out of high school in '99, so
Okay.
during those '94 to '99, that's what I was doing. I was doing Rap City, man. I was doing Rap City, man.
Ty,
So
you know what's dope about that, man? When I took that gig, one of the underlying thoughts in the back of my head was that I was hoping I could be the type of black man on television that didn't get clowned or get protested or get seen as in a bad light. I wanted
right,
to be the kind. I thought that hip hop deserved a college graduate who could speak on, the movement of the day, and could navigate it for my young brothers and sisters who who may see these guns and this violence as the way of life as opposed to entertainment. And I was trying to be that guy. So to hear you say that, man, means a whole lot, brother. Means a
man,
whole lot.
man. It was important. Now, I want to kind of go back. Now, where are you from?
I am from Seat Pleasant, Maryland. Me and Kevin Durant from the same hood.
Nice. Why is it so? It's a lot of people from that area that are doing a
Man,
lot
listen,
of
I'm from
great
Prince
things.
George. I'm from Prince George's County, Maryland. So to put it in context, Prince George's County became a sort of a black enclave when all of the redlining was still going on, and in the late '60s and early '70s, when black folks were becoming more professional, real estate pushed black folks to Prince George's County.
Hmm.
And so we grew up. I grew up, which was wild. I grew up thinking that black folks ran everything.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
my dad was my dad was an attorney for the Department of Education.
Okay.
My mom, she worked for the hospital, and she left and became a professor and a writer. I
Mhm.
had black teachers. I had black bus driver. I had, the store owner was black. All my neighbors were black.
Mhm.
I knew black businessmen and I knew black gangsters. I knew, well-to-do blacks, and I knew blacks whose houses I would go over and I would be embarrassed, like, oh man, they really doing it over here. And then
Right,
but then I could go down the street and it'd be some blacks. You'd be like, man, they need some help over here. So
right, right.
Prince George's County, the home of, you can name it, Martin Lawrence. When I was growing up, Martin Lawrence was boxing at the gym around the corner.
Wow.
Yeah, he's that's why he always doing this, because Martin used to
Right.
box when we was kids. While we playing football, he was
Wow.
boxing. Sugar Ray Leonard is from around the corner.
Okay.
Um, Prince George's County is the the proud home of Genuine. Don't nobody else got a Genuine
Right.
for Prince George's County, as well as
Right.
Maya and Stacey Lattisaw, Wale. Um,
Mm.
so we just are a very strong black community
Right.
that has weathered a lot of storms, just like the rest of the country. But you just know
Mhm.
that when you walk out your door, your neighbors gonna be black. Your neighborhood will be, a bigger percentage will be black than almost anywhere else in the country. So
Right.
that's why it's like this.
Right. Makes sense. When did you realize you were funny?
um when I transferred schools in high school, in 10th grade, I transferred schools and went to another school,
Uh,
and nobody knew me at that school. So
mhm.
prior
Mhm.
to that, it was all the cats I had grown up with, so they knew my soft points. They knew
Right.
how to get me. And we people call it snapping or whatever. We call it Joan in here, so they knew how to Joan me out.
Uh-huh.
And once I transferred to another school, and here's the thing I want to make everybody understand about Prince George's County. It borders Washington, D.C.
Mhm.
And so the closer you are to the city line, you just a little more hood.
Yeah.
So so cats who live right on the line, they could tear me up. But then
Yeah.
when I would go a little further out towards the suburbs, well, I could get with these dudes. And so
Right.
one of my first, like, it was my first week of living in this new neighborhood, and this dude decided he wanted to jump out there, and he was, you know, joning on everybody on the bus, and he came to me and my sister. And my sister looked at me. She was like, "Oh, I hope he don't come over here because this is going." Because she hates it. Because she knows I don't stop.
Right.
Tear your ass up. You gonna be mad. You gonna want to fight when I'm finished. And you know, and this guy was extremely popular at my new school. And you know, the girls love him and everything. And he's sitting there joning everybody out, and they, you know, just laughing, going along with him because he's popular. I don't know this motherfucker, so. I tore him up so bad, man. I mean, it was bad. It was bad. At first, my sister was happy, then embarrassed for dude.
You're right.
And at that point, somebody was like, "You should be a comedian," and I was like, that was the first little thing, and then that started to take it took on a life once I got into college. Once I got to Morgan State, it took on a real life. And I had some professors who saw some things in me who made me get into like the drama department. I was an art major at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, I went away to school as an art major. And that morphed into what we know now. But that comedy thing, I was like, okay, cool, I'll try it. And when I did, it worked. And I was like, well, hold on. And they gave me money. I got once I got a check. I think they gave me some money.
Yeah, right.
I was like, they give you money for this?
Right.
Oh, let's go. And here we are.
Right. I mean? Right. Now, what year did you pledge at Morgan State? Because you pledged fall '89. So
fall
what
89.
year? What year was that for you in college?
This was my second sophomore year.
Second sophomore year. Right. Now, how was that? Because I didn't pledge until my 5th year.
Okay.
So how was that being a sophomore and going through your whole HBCU career, being a Kappa? That has to be. Whew.
Well, how was that? Ooh, how was it? I mean, come on, dude. Come on, man. I mean, you know, it was. Here's the thing, though. It was a golden time because my freshman year of college, School Days came out. School Days movie came out my freshman year of college. A Different World came on right after that. So while I was in college, I was watching Black college play out on television and in the movies. So you could kind of understand. And so I was both. I was both Dap and Julian. You understand what I'm saying? I was, when I saw the Nukes, when I saw the Nukes, I wasn't impressed.
Really?
Right? I'm from Prince George's County. Don't nothing impress us.
Yeah.
You know, we from DC. Don't nothing impress us. So, these are light-skinned, good-looking guys with the little mustaches, clean. Right. I'm like, man, I ain't think about this bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I had a friend who pledged, and told me about it, and then it really piqued my interest. Right. And so the following year, I was like, I'm going. I'm getting down. And one of the big brothers was like, man, you gotta go check out all the other organizations before I let you in my frat, because you loud, you think you the man, you funny. Nah, hell no, you ain't about to be goofy in my frat. And once I did all the research, I really knew I wanted to be a Nuke.
Right.
So, and I'm a Nuke with, a fight the power type of Nuke. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Same thing,
up, brother. It was just like, it was just like School Days, Black.
Yeah. Right. I know it. Now, is it true that BET came to your house and filmed Rap City? Is that how you got on?
So BET came to my house after I had been calling BET for a year, though. So we gotta get this story set up. I was I was a social worker. I left Morgan State and became a social worker.
Okay.
And was working in those, helping young Black men figure it out. And the BT Rap City's coming on every day. Right. And I quit that job, so I'm watching Ricky Lake every day. I'm watching Video Vibrations.
Yep.
Rap City, and then Video Soul, right? And one day I got on the Ricky Lake show. Ricky Lake put out this whole thing. This was her second year of being on. She was still doing some hard journalism type of stuff. This was before the baby daddies and all that stuff. And she had me come on and debate with a conservative talk show host, a Black conservative talk show host. Me being a young college grad, I was like, nah, we're not going for this conservatism that you pushing. That just spells sell out. And I don't mind buying in, but I don't like selling out. And this brother didn't know the difference. You understand what I mean? So once I got on TV on Ricky Lake, I was like, I wonder if I can get on BET. Yeah. And I was trying to get on BET one time to impress my girl. Because my girl had kind of broke up with me now that I left school. She's seeing this other dude, but I was deeply in love with her. It's that college love, so we always on the phone. Yeah. I'm always gonna have love for you and that kind of shit. And I wanted my girl back. So I'm going to see if I can get on BET. and so I started calling BET. After I got on Ricky Lake, I started calling BET once a week. And this was still when payphones was out. My line brother had got our phone cut off. And so I'm walking up the street and dropping that quarter and calling BET. I called 411 the first day, got the information to BET, and then started calling my man Keith Paschal and leaving a message. Hey, my name is Joe Clair. I'm a comedian. I think I'll be great for your show. Please give me a call back. I know everything about hip hop. Boom. Wow. Wouldn't get a call back. At the same time, I'm out making my name as a comedian, and I'm going to the club every night with my partner, who's a DJ. Because where I'm not into sports, I am into arts and culture. And at the time, hip hop is, emerging. And so I was steeped in the culture. Yeah. And so I knew everything about hip hop at the time. And so after calling, that same dude was like, listen, hey, this like 11 months later, he called, he said, man, I'm gonna be on Rap City tomorrow. I got the phone fixed in the house. I'm gonna be on Rap City tomorrow. I said, for real? Like, yeah. Now I didn't tell anybody I had been calling BET because that sounds crazy, right?
Yes, sound real crazy.
I kept it to myself. What ended up happening is he was going, they had DJs on Rap City. He was going to be the DJ. And I told him, ask him if they could shoot at my house because they didn't have a place to shoot. Wow. And they didn't have a location they came up with the location later that day or whatever. I said, offer my house up at the time. And at the time, me and my Sans had a bomb ass crib on Capitol Hill here in DC with nothing in it. Crib was bomb. But it wasn't nothing in that motherfucker. I ain't own a car, nothing. I keep the student loan debt, all of it. Anyway, he called me back, said we be there tomorrow at 1 o'clock. I hung up the phone and immediately went upstairs in my room and was like, God, now they said you be doing stuff like this, but and I believe in you. I'm faithful, God. But if you can make this one happen, dear Lord, I swear I'll never do anything illegal or immoral in my life. If you could just. And he and the next day they showed up to my house. It was the producer of one of the producers, and he bought Chino XL and a couple of other rappers came through. And we started doing the interview, and then I met the guy who I had been calling drops by for the shoot. I meet him, we do the boop, 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 and he's like, hold up, you the guy been calling me? I'm like, yeah, I'm the guy been calling you. And the other guy goes, well, that comedian I've been telling you about? This is him. They had been having conversations, didn't know I was the same guy
Wow.
Didn't know it was my house. So, you know, it just kind of worked out. You know, the
Wow.
synergy was there, the symbiosis was all, whatever you want to say, plus God.
Wow. That's an
And
amazing story.
next thing you know, I got a couple of auditions, and I swear I was just trying to get on the show once.
Yeah.
And it was a 4.5-year run.
Whoa. That's amazing. That's amazing. During that 4.5-year run, what was your most memorable interview?
It's too many to say. Right now, I mean, right now, as I sit in my house, you can't see the picture that's right here, but I got the Biggie picture hanging up, you know, because that is the most, you know, that's the one that everybody goes back to, and you know, the one that everybody remembers most. But that was just a normal interview. I had no, you know, I had no idea that this man was about to, nobody knows that somebody's about to be killed the next couple of days. And it was 3 days later that he got killed. 3-4 days later that he got killed. So that interview was dope because I was getting to sit down and interview Big. We had crossed paths a lot of times before because I was going back and forth to New York on comedy and LA on comedy. So we had crossed paths, but we never got to do the interview. And so that's why that was dope. We kicked it. You know, after the interview, we sat there, twist blunt, smoked one, and then I went and got on the plane.
Right.
And a couple of days later, he was, you know, he got killed. So that's what that one is. But like talking with I got to talk with Tupac right before he died, maybe 3-4 months before he passed away. And you know, in getting to speak Tupac, not an interview, just a talk with Tupac, I'll never forget it as long as I live. You know, that's the Panthers.
Right.
I'm talking to history. I'm talking to a mover and a shaker. I'm talking to somebody who is caught up in two worlds. He's coming from the Panthers. He's got this incredible talent, and now the money has entered into the equation. He owes Suge money for getting him out of jail, and you know, buying the record label, buying the record deal out, and all this other stuff. So it was a conversation with. It was the kind of conversation with a black man in America that very few get to have.
Right.
And so I will never forget that as long as I live. He explained to me why he was making the records he was making, and you know, why so many people was getting dissed. And he was explaining to me, you know, the relationship with record labels, and he owed people money, and how he thought about like the Outlaws and the Young Brothers who were behind him, and how he thought about, you know, he loved New York. Now, he explained to me, man, I love New York. I love the East Coast. But, you know, they made it this thing, and I got to go with this thing. And I'll never forget that as long as I live. At the same time, I did an interview with Lil' Kim, and she gave me a massage. I did a dream sequence. Like, me and Lil' Kim went to a spa. We had a spa day together, right? And in that spa day, they did a dream sequence, and Lil' Kim was on my back giving me a massage.
Man, listen.
If you can remember the first Lil' Kim album with the poster with her squatting with the, so that's on the center of my back.
That's pretty memorable. That's pretty memorable there.
You know what I mean? I'm never gonna forget that as long as I live.
Right.
And I mean, all of them, most of them were just like pretty. It was an incredible time. I was a huge fan who got this incredible job to interview. So I'm, you know, interviewing Ice Cube, on down to interviewing cats like Royal Flush, and you know, Sally Sale, and going out to the Bay and learning what the Bay is about. Walking the streets late at night with Bone Thugs and Harmony, you know, or kicking it with Crucial Conflict in Chicago. You know, interviewing 8 Ball and MJG, and they said my name on their album. Wow. You know, Uncle Luke on a speedboat with your Uncle Luke shit. You know, I went to Jamaica and interviewed Buju Banton. You know what I mean? And Capleton and just Jay in the helicopter.
Wow.
You know, it's So when people ask me what's my most memorable, the whole shit,
The
like
whole
all
situation.
of it, bruh. I was
Right.
a college grad when all my friends was getting pharmaceutical jobs and going to law school. I was out here interviewing rappers for a living.
Whew. During that time too, during the late 90s when rap was rap.
Bruh, I got to interview KRS-One and he knew my name. I almost fell on the ground. Like KRS-One said my name to me. He was my formative. He formed some Public Enemy. And Chuck D, me and Chuck D got a long story. There's a Chuck D story. I'm working on a book now. There's a Chuck D story that's still alive today. With me and Chuck and Flav and meeting Flav, and so it was all very memorable, man.
Wow. That's amazing. Now, in the mid 90s, you had some rappers start to pass away. And yesterday we had a rapper in Chicago, FBG Duck, that was killed. Did you see this trend of hip hop coming in the early days? Did it start to feel dangerous when you were talking to these people?
When Tupac died, my eyes got huge because there were a number of theories going around about who was involved, and all of them could have been credible, from all the way from gang members on up through to the FBI because of who he was. And I realized that we had, at that point, our culture had taken the place of rock stars. There was nobody. We were influencing the culture more than the rock stars a generation before. You did have Michael Jackson and so on and so forth, but MTV and all them tried to be as rock heavy and oriented as possible. If you think about it today, you can't find a white boy with a guitar. All of them rapping. Jack Harlow. They all
of them.
So those trends started early, and just like anything else in America, when Tupac died and then Biggie died right after that, I knew that controlling gun violence in hip hop was going to be a tough thing. It was going to be something. I don't want to say a tough thing. Let me say this. It was going to be something that we were going to be wrestling with for a good while, simply because of what people believed the industry was, what rappers thought you had to do and be to be in the industry. And there was a lot of, there's a lot of street shit. Let's keep it real, street shit that comes along with that, for better or for worse. Street culture looks great. Street culture is great when it's a painting up in a museum, or it's a song coming out of radio. Street culture, however, when it comes down to 3 o'clock in the morning in front of the club and there's a dispute, you already know what you dealing with and what you working with. So and I remember at that time, I went on television and said that this is a sign from God that we got work to do to straighten our shit out, or we're going to be dealing with this. And some people got what I was saying. Most people thought I was sounding like an old ass man.
You're right. That makes sense. Do you ever have survivor's remorse? Because you've interviewed Kobe, you've interviewed Tupac, you've interviewed Biggie.
Todd, that's a great question. Nah, what I have is, when those things pop up, I have an examination of my own mortality. It could be me tomorrow. Kobe didn't know it was gonna be him that day. He had no idea. Pun didn't think he was gonna die. Nobody, you don't know. So for me, what it gives is, no survivor's guilt, but more of an examination of my own mortality. What did I do with my time? If I died tomorrow, what did I do with my time while I was here on the planet? Did I spend it in a way that was impactful or uplifting or positive or something good? Did I do something good while I was here? Is what I think about when those things pop off. I always, of course, feel bad. I remember the day Heavy D died, I cried, man. My wife looked at me like I was crazy. She was like, "You didn't even know him that good." I said, "I know him good enough."
Right.
You know, and she had never seen me break down like that, but it hurt. He was such a good guy. I was like, "Nah, not him. Come on, man."
Right.
So that's what happens when that pops off for me. I don't feel survivor's guilt because my parents told me that how hard it is just to be a black man in America every single day. Right. And the odds are already stacked against me. So I don't feel good. I don't feel bad about surviving, but I do mourn those losses and think about my own mortality.
Right. What do you accredit to being able to survive this long? You're still the same Joe Clair from 97, 98 when I was 16, 17 years old. Is it the authenticity? Is it staying true to yourself? Is it being able to adapt? What is that?
Two things. I got extremely lucky with my parents. I got extremely lucky with my parents. They were progressive, forward-thinking black people in the 70s. We grew up vegetarian at my mom's house. You know, my dad wouldn't let us listen to popular music. My dad wouldn't I would get in trouble for using double negatives around the house. That's the kind of household we had. If you said ain't got no, that's an ass whooping. Cause you know, my parents were on something else, and me and it reflected in me and my siblings. That's one. Then two was the fact that I'm from Prince George's County, which is right outside of Washington D.C., one of the blackest places ever. So I gotta come home. And if you think about people from D.C., let me give you D.C. people: Martin Lawrence, Taraji Henson, Wale, Kevin Durant, Regina Hall, Genuine. You when you from here, you really gotta be you. Yeah. You really gotta be able to stand on who you are. Donnell Rollins is from here. That's my guy. Red Grant, Dominique, Jay Phillips, Tommy
Davidson.
Tommy from In Living Color. Tommy
Davidson.
We all Pierre. We all from here. So
shit.
When you come back to our city, we not impressed. We really are not impressed about celebrities. You know, we the kind of people when a celebrity come to town, man, fuck that nigga, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's how we go from DC. And I know you know people from DC.
Oh yeah, you sound just like that. They got to keep it smooth.
So if I'm the guy on television, I better be who I'm going to be, and that means removing all the filters, all the fakeness, all the Hollywood shit, and stand on something. I had to take lumps for standing on things, you know, being a man and standing like a man's supposed to stand. I've taken some lumps. I've had some L's because of that, but I've had great victories because of that as well.
Right.
And now that I'm a husband and I'm a dad, you know, what better thing to show your child? Yeah. You know what I mean? To show I got a little boy. I mean, I got a little girl who's going to come out here and crush the world. You know, but I got a little boy who I need to understand. I need him to understand he a king as well. So, fuck that fake shit.
Right. Makes sense. Now, how do you feel about the democratization of media? You know, because you've been around for both eras. You were around when it was some white man controlling things and deciding what was going to be on TV and on the airways, or a black man at BET. And then now you hear where everyone that has a phone has a voice. What are your thoughts on that? Do you like it that it's more democratized now? Or do you like it when media
some aspects of it that there are some aspects of it that I really, really dig. You know, the fact that I can pick up my phone and reach 30,000 people when I feel like it is super dope. However, that means anybody can reach 30,000 people whenever they feel like it.
Yeah.
The part I don't dig is that it has shown where everybody's head is. You know, you can see by popularity where we are as a society. And I want to speak specifically about African Americans Black folks. We have, you know, you can put up financial advice. You can put up, I put up spiritual things and motivational things every day with my moment of clarity. We can put up information about real estate and buying and everything else, and I get this many hits. If I jump out of the car with my dick waving, that's 2 million hits.
Yep.
So it explains, it's right there in front of our face about our condition. You know, there is part of the condition that, you know, where we have been marginalized, we have been, you know, acted against, we have been, you know, all of that stuff, all of the bias that comes along with being an African-American person. We have that part, but then the other part is our responsibility to us.
Right.
And where I see, you know, where we are, you know, I hate to put it like this, but for the most part, nigga shit wins out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Conspiracy theories.
Yep.
Twerking.
Right.
And, you know, niggas who just say wild shit out their mouth. Is what's really popular.
Right.
I have hope, however, in that this pandemic and this time that we're having to move through is putting a little more maturity on people. Yeah. Things are a bit more heavy now.
Yeah.
And I hope that moving forward, we can start to integrate some of this information more, or take to this information more, the things that we need to change our condition in this country a little more. Because at the end of the day, Todd, I'm sitting in my crib that I earned, that I worked hard for. But this is what I want for my brother.
Right.
And if my brother can achieve this, ain't no telling what we could achieve collectively in the country. But if my brother only takes me as, you know, Joe Clair, either he better be sitting next to a rapper or he better have some jokes. If that's all that if that's all that he feels that I have to offer, then he's missing a big part of what's going to take us to this next level.
Right. I totally agree.
That's how I feel, brother. So it's a good thing. It has pros and cons, and we have to. Yeah. We're very slow to look at the cons, but we better examine them and examine them quick.
Right, makes sense. Now you were part of something back in the day that was extremely influential in my life, and a lot of people that came up around my time, and that was the BET Wrap It Up campaign, and it was highly effective. Tell me the strategy and tactics that made this campaign effective. Because you'll be 12 thinking about doing something, and that BET Wrap It Up commercial will come on, and you'll be like, let me think.
It was just that. BET knew how to speak to the culture in a very real way.
Right.
In other words, excuse my language, all my HBCU grads, they knew when we was fucking.
They knew it.
And they knew that in the African American community, you know, HIV was more prevalent. So how do we combat that? Hold up a second. Put your condom on. You good.
Yeah.
And that's why it was effective. And then when we would do the live shows, you know, I did that for about a decade of going around to schools throughout North America, Canada. We went to Toronto a couple times. We went to the Caribbean a couple times. My brother, my oldest brother is living with HIV. He's been living with HIV since 1988.
Wow.
And so for me, it was when I saw BET do that, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
You know, me and my family have been going through it, but to see our faces taking charge and trying to do something to change that, you know, the impact of that disease was everything to me. So I got down and, you know, I went to talk to kids for a decade on that one right there, man, because we needed it. And now we're going to have the same conversation about COVID.
Yeah, we are.
It's going to be that somebody else is going to have to show up and be the cheerleader for slowing this down in our community. I don't think that we are going to mirror the country in how we're getting infected and how we're passing along the disease. I think that we're going to have to live with this either longer or differently than the rest of the country. Therefore, we're going to have to be more proactive, and we're going to have more voices coming out to speak, just like we did with HIV.
Right. I totally agree. I totally agree. Now let's talk quickly about wealth building. You're in the real estate. I like building businesses. What have you seen as the best wealth building tool, especially for African Americans and HBCU grads?
Okay, first best wealth building tool is education.
Yes.
The people, we don't even think about our education as an investment. We don't think of it as wealth. We just say, oh, I got to pay these student loans back. I shouldn't have done this shit. Right? However, off of paying that student, off of the 100,000 you, 200,000 you owe in student loan debts, you're going to make $5 million over your lifetime, $10 million over your lifetime. Right. What an investment. Look at the return on that investment.
Right.
I went to Morgan State University. I was a C student. I put myself through school, working jobs and small scholarships and grants here and there. Best investment ever.
Yes.
Because it blew my awareness away. It showed me all kinds of shit. I got strong parents behind me. It showed me the value in that. So it showed me moving forward where value lies. So when it comes to wealth building, you get a bigger in the understanding of value with education. Yeah. And then once you start to understand value, you start to understand generational wealth.
Yeah.
Having something to hand off to somebody else, the value of that for your child's life, not just what the physical asset means, but what this means, what it can do for that person's life.
Yeah.
You know, if I leave my kids these assets that can continue to appreciate, what does that mean for him? Maybe he don't have to have student loans like I did. That's one generation after the next who we change. I changed it with one generation. Or maybe I can use this money. We just started, it was crazy enough, Todd. We just started businesses for our kids during this quarantine.
Wow.
My daughter is 10, my son is 8. Mm-hmm. She started a lip gloss company. Ooh. He started a vending machine company.
Oh, that's beautiful.
The awareness and the information and the education me and my wife both possess, the value in that is we can see the value in pouring that into our kids before they're in their 20s. Might as well do it in their formative years. Do it while they're small. Show them that they can do some of the same things adults can do with their money, so that by the time they're 20, they're thinking on terms of $1 million acquisitions, multi-million dollar acquisitions, and things of that nature.
Right.
Meanwhile, they're also watching their father, who is a comedian and a talk show host, become a realtor and a developer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're seeing something. So the value in that is immeasurable. You understand what I mean? So for wealth, I'm going to say the first thing is that education, bro.
Yes.
It sounds a bit, people like to say that it sounds a little elitist, Todd. They like to say, oh, what about the regular niggas? Well, what about you? Here's what I'm gonna say. I got into Morgan State University with some horrible grades.
Me too.
And I, they only went up when I was trying to pledge. I'm gonna keep it $150 with you. How?
I had my best grades while I pledged.
Say that again.
I had my best grades when I was online.
Yeah. Then, but after that, my Jones just went. But I had this many extracurriculars, so it weighed out for me.
Right.
And so what I say to those, man, I ain't thinking about that, man. I ain't thinking. Well, okay, college might not be for you, but education is for everybody, forever.
Yeah.
Forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. I started class in September. I start 2 courses in September.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Wow. It keeps going. It keeps going. And those of us who shun education are doing ourselves a huge disservice.
Totally.
Last time I bumped into Master P, he told me he was on a mission to give Black folks financial literacy.
Mm-hmm.
So listen to what we're saying. This is a guy who you've never heard Master P complete a whole grammatically correct sentence. Right?
For real.
Between his New Orleans slang and how Black folks treat the English language, it's everywhere. However, he has enough wherewithal to continue to inform himself about what his money can do and what it can do for the community. So he's been making money continuously because he continues to educate himself.
Yeah.
When Romeo went to UCLA, so did P.
Yeah.
Let me see that book. Show me something else. What that say right there, son? No, explain that quantum theory to me.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So those of us who shun education, and I'm not necessarily saying you got to go to college, a 4-year college. There's a billion forms of education. Those of us who shun that are throwing away money, throwing away value.
Right.
That's what I'm going to say.
I totally agree. I know you got to go.
I got time for one more question.
You're in the philanthropy, and you're always giving back. I think giving back you can give back in a lot of ways. One of the ways that you gave back is when I DM'd you, you said, sure, I'll do this interview. And I know that, yeah, it may be of value to you, but I'm probably getting a little bit more value out of this interview, being able to talk to one of my childhood heroes. When did you first start giving back, and how did it make you feel, and why do you see it as being so important?
Christmas 1985. We Are the World came out.
Okay.
I had got my Christmas money. My mother said, "Oh, you sending some of that money to them kids in Ethiopia?" I said, "How the fuck I gotta send my money to the kids in Ethiopia? I barely got one. Hold up." That's when my philanthropic work started. Mm-hmm. After that, my first job was at 13 years old, was as a volunteer, because I was too young to get a job. So my mother got me a volunteer job at summer camp. I was a junior counselor, and I found the value in that at 13. I was able to, come out and help these kids be at camp, but I was also getting real experience on what it meant to work, what it meant for someone to look up to you, what it meant to be on time, what it meant to show up every day. I was getting all those. So that's where it started, and it just kept going through there to this day. I'm about to do a food drive with Covenant House in the next couple of weeks here in DC to fill their pantry up, and hopefully get some food and some other things for these kids. Matter of fact, I'm trying to get musical equipment. I'm about to do a drive to get musical equipment. I don't know if you know, but I produce in my off time. I make beats in my off time, and that's what I was doing at Covenant House. I was teaching the young people music production once a week, and of course that was these kids is rough. So the music production gave me a way to get in and start to let them put their guard down a little bit and start the conversation about becoming a man, becoming a young woman, moving forward. Getting access to the things they think they don't have access to, letting them know that that's a big mirage. You can get anything you want out here if you got your head on right. And so that's where it started for me. And it just, plus with the frat, we all about service. And so, having that brotherhood of Black men, and then being in the Divine Nine, being in one of the organizations that is part of all of these organizations that serve our communities, shit. And plus, it made me feel good.
It makes you feel great.
I ain't gonna front. If I can keep it $150 with you, I go, hand out dinners and so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. Do that, be dog tired, hop in my car, turn on my favorite music. Twist up.
Yes, sir.
There's no, if it's legal in your state, let me say that.
Right. Right.
But right. Coming from helping people for 8 hours and then zoning out because you've done the real work that day, man, there's nothing like that, man.
Nothing like it.
It's better. I swear to God, it feels better than a check sometimes.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna front. It feels better than a check sometimes, y'all. So if you can, I plead everyone, if you have 10 minutes a week, somebody could use that. There's someone in your community who needs your 10 minutes of volunteering. Go give it to them.
Yes.
Real talk.
Joe Clair, thank you.
Man, we got to do this again. We got to do some other things we need to talk about.
Yeah, we got a lot more to talk about, but I'll let you get to the next one. Thank you. If there's anything we can help, even with the drive, just, let us know. We're here to help you. And we appreciate your time.
And everybody, please continue to support HBCU grad.
Yes, sir. I know. Talk to you.
Bye, bro.
Peace.